Hey, you guys, this is our first ever recorded podcast, like video recorded, which is so exciting. So if you're listening on the audio only, go head over to YouTube and watch the visual if that's something you're into. If not, that's fine. But if you want to watch all my hand gestures and me shaking my coffee around while we talk, then head on over to YouTube. We are currently set up in a private study tower in the heart of my city with these beautiful, gorgeous windows behind me. And it's honestly a very lovely view. So I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. Today's episode is so cool. It is honestly such a cool episode where we are going to be diving into a mindset hack. It's more than a mindset hack. It is a life hack that is one of the easiest ways to change your perspective around. And I think it's one of the most fun ways. I think sometimes it gets like really overwhelming and challenging when everything's these just really difficult challenges, like whether it's like deep shadow work or trying to do 75 hard, where we're trying to change our lives in these really big, drastic ways. Sometimes that's really tough. So this is one of the most fun ways to change your perspective around, and I'm very excited to get into it. So let's do it.
Welcome to Perspective with Kaylee Phillips, the safe space to get deep, break through, and find alignment. Here we prioritize wholehearted self-love, passion-driven careers, and living your absolute best life. You're here for a reason, so jump into the good energy, put your rose-colored glasses on, and tune in for massive impact and growth. I'm your host, KP, ready to release perfect and welcome perspective.
Be sure to go head over to my Instagram story to see the behind the scenes of this whole setup we have going on here. Eventually, one day, we will have our own podcast studio. I'm manifesting that. I'm so excited for it. Anyway, so today's mindset hack, life hack for changing your perspective around is an associative memory hack. And I am really, really excited to dive into it because it's so simple. It's really simple. Like, you could start doing it today. You could teach it to your friends and family. You can teach it to, honestly, a child. And I think it's really beneficial for long-term changes and not something that is like a hit or miss. Like, it's really simple and it's an exciting one to do. So it's all about associative memory. And we're really talking about that subconscious level more than like what's right in front of you, which is why it's so sustainable. You know what I mean? So whether you know it or not, we have associative memory where we associate certain things, certain ideas, certain places with feelings. We do it all the time, whether you know it or not. If you're the type of person who has thrown out certain items of clothing because they remind you of a certain place that you wore it, or a person that you were with when you wore it, or a certain song plays and you're instantly taken back, then this is going to work really well for you. But whether you're conscious of it or not, we all do this. We all have associative memory. What we're going to do today is we're going to take that natural thing that we do of associative memory and turn it into a tool, which is so cool. When we turn something natural, it's like breath work. Turning your breathing into a tool is so cool. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing today with this mindset hack. We're going to change the things that we associate with money, with people, with places, with random stuff to make it all work for you subconsciously. So like I said, this is one of the simplest approaches to manifestation, and I'm really excited for you to feel better internally, to see things in a new light, and to just learn more about yourself as you're doing it. I think this type of thing requires you to be reflective and introspective. It requires you to think a little bit, and then you're learning so much more about yourself, which is just so cool overall. So with this associative memory idea, you can kind of think of it like you have files in your brain. If you're a visual person, this is going to be really good for you. You have filing cabinets in your brain, and we have some really full filing cabinets. We have some empty ones. We have some very thin files. We have some thick files. We have some toxic ones. We have some very beneficial ones. We have some that stay tucked away in the back and collect dust. We have some that are always open on our desk. Our brain is just full of files from everything you've experienced throughout your whole life. And what we're going to do is go through these files here and see what we want to work with, what we don't want to work with. And we're going to try to clear out the toxic ones or change them up, because something that's toxic that's sitting in the back of your files can be hurting you every day without you even realizing it because of that subconscious associative memory. So the first thing I want to talk about is these conscious level ones, just so you can kind of get into the flow of what we're doing here and see it for what it is, like super clearly, before we get into the fun part of like digging deep into how you associate things. So money, I think, is the easiest one to like really tap into how you think and how you perceive. So if you're the type of person who associates money with eat the rich, that's like disgusting amounts of money, money is greed, money is the root of all evil, F the rich, that is how you're associating money with your being. So every time you think of money, or anytime you experience something with money, that belief system is resurfacing and making itself known, which is holding you back from being able to achieve large amounts of money or anything relating to money, because you have rooted this belief system and you have that associative memory. Whether it's conscious each time or not, it's a belief system that you have. So this is kind of what we're talking about, where we're going to look at these things and see what kind of belief system we have around it, and then either enhance it and use it as a tool or change it so that it can have potential as a tool. So again, the money example is one of those more like front facing, in your face, like how are you viewing this? But there's some that are so intricate and like detailed that you're like, I never would have thought that this would be a tool for manifesting. So in your life, you see signs and synchronicities. They're there, whether you notice it or not. You know, whether you're like, I see this sign all the time, or you don't even realize it. They're there. It's just up to you to choose to see them and choose to find a meaning there. So right now, get a little introspective and ask yourself, do I have any signs of good luck? Do I have any signs of abundance or symbols of abundance in my mindset? Do I have anything that I see and I feel a certain sense of positivity or good luck towards the future? If you do, that is amazing. Now, if you don't, that's okay. We're going to create them. But if you do, I want you to take note of them and really remember them moving forward. For me, like I always see 222 and I make that a tool. I wear it all the time. Like I put it in front of myself, I make that a tool. And there's another one that I've been seeing recently that is so interesting that I'm going to tell you about later. But I just want you to keep that in your back pocket because we're going to get to it. Do you have any signs that you associate with good luck? Or do you have anything that you see or recognize or hear all the time and you're not sure what it means? I have one of those and I'm very excited to share it with you guys and kind of like create this with you, like do this exercise with you as we go. Keep that in your back pocket as we continue this conversation. So we are going to use your 5 senses to create abundance in your life. It's going to be really cool. So you might not know this, but it is like a known study. It was a study that was done where if you chew a certain flavor of gum while you're studying for something, and then you put that same flavor of gum in your mouth when you take the test or whenever you want to regurgitate that information, you are more likely to be successful in your memory and in your ability to recall that information because that sense was activated. So that sense was present during the time of study. So then when it's time to take the test, you put that same sense back into activation mode. And it's like it all comes back. It's like a flash drive for your existence. Like that piece of gum like absorbs the information and then we put it back in when we're ready. Isn't that so interesting? So I like to use this for all sorts of things. I'm not a student anymore. I did use this when I was a student, but now I like to use it for triggering feelings and triggering sensations, and especially with like scripting and stuff, because one of the things you guys tell me is like the most challenging is activating these belief systems in your real life. Like it's so easy to sit and listen to this podcast or sit in meditation and be like, yes, abundance is all around me, everything's going great. But then it's like, once I actually get out into the real world, it's hard to remember those things when stressors come up and when these big challenges come up. It's hard for me to tap back into it. So this is one of those ways that you can subconsciously tap back into it. The gum is just one example. We're going to go through so many different examples. What I would do is get a fun gum flavor, not one that you're used to. Like if you always chew peppermint, don't try to do this with peppermint. Choose like a really funky new one and chew it during a deep manifestation and scripting session. Positive mindset, scripting. So if you don't know what scripting is when we are writing in the present tense as if we are our future self. You can literally think of it like writing your future script, like for like the movie that is your life, where you're writing like, today's date is December 1st, 2024, and I just celebrated 7 figures in my business and I just got back from Europe, and you get like into details about where you're at, and it's like you're writing the script, because obviously right now as I'm recording this, it's March 2024, right? So I'm saying this is where I'm going to be in December, and that's a really cool exercise to activate the future. You know what I'm saying? So do the scripting, do the deep manifestation work, do the positive visualization, literally see yourself in that place while you're chewing that flavor of gum. Then later on, whenever you're in a place where you need to remember your worth, you need to remember your future, you need to remember what you're made for, put that gum back in your mouth. Or just at random times, like when you're driving, during those times where you have recognized, and this is, again, another opportunity to be introspective, go to those times where you've recognized you struggle to maintain the positive mindset. Those are the times that you're going to chew that gum. So that's one example. That's our taste. Now, I want to go over to our scent. And you can also look at your human design and see if any of these are your like strongest scents. Some people, you might have something a little unique, like inner vision or something. Mine is scent personally. But yeah, maybe go check that out and see, because then you could really, really activate this if you do have one of these 5 senses as your strongest. So now with our scent, I like to do either a candle or a body wash, because water manifestation is a thing. Like manifesting when you're in the shower, or when you're in the ocean or the pool is a really great tactic and awesome approach, because you're in one of the natural elements, right? Candle or body wash. Again, a unique scent, not like vanilla that you're used to, like something unique and fun that is so recognizable, and associate that with something. So again, you can light that candle and do a deep grounding session, or you can just claim like, this smells like money to me, because my strongest is my smell. And I always kind of struggled with that. I got some advice like, oh, always keep cash in your wallet, so you always like smell money and like are associated with that. But for me, my like number one moment of aha, like I feel this sensation very strongly, was when I went to my first ever luxury hotel that I booked myself. It was in December. I forgot what year, but it was in a December time, because I went to see the Nutcracker in New York City, and I booked a hotel for us in the heart of Times Square, and we had like a fancy dinner, fancy breakfast. Like it was so fancy, so luxury. And the way that place smelled when I first walked in, I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to smell. It brought me like the sense of like traveling. It brought me the sense of peace, clarity, money, wealth. Like I felt all of those things at once. And I was like, I want to smell this forever. So I asked them like what scent it was, and I got the candle and I lit it every single day in my old apartment, and I really felt it. So you can choose to associate a certain scent with, like, go to the store today and just go through the candle section or go through the body wash section and see how they make you feel. Like close your eyes, smell something, see how it makes you feel, and then let that be your association. Every time you use that candle, every time you take a shower, you are putting yourself in that space. You are activating that feeling. Now let's do it with sight. This is the one that I said I was going to hold on to. I kept seeing the same car over and over again, like crazy amounts. And not just like, when you get a new car and then you always see your car because like now it's in front of you, so you see it because you're aware of it. It was like weird. It was weird. Okay. Like I was seeing this car in the most obscure situations, like almost hitting this car, or like this car tailgating me, or like parallel parking and like being this close to this same car, crossing the street and like it coming at me. Like this car kept making itself extremely known to me. And I was like, I have no idea what this means. And I still haven't been able to figure it out, but I have just decided, like the other day, I was like, you know what? I am just going to decide that whenever I see this car, it's a gray Mazda. Every time I see this car, it is a sign that good things are coming to me and I'm being protected. Because every time it was like almost got hit. Mason almost ran out in front of it. So I have decided that this car is a symbol of protection. I'm always in the right place and I am protected. You can do that with literally anything. If there's something that you always see, something that people always talk to you about, these synchronicities, you can decide what it means for you. Because here's the thing, like all these signs and symbols, they're in front of you. But like I said, you have to want to see them. If you're someone who doesn't believe in it and you're like close-minded to it, then you're not going to see it. You have to first choose to keep your mind open to seeing all of these signs and symbols. So you can decide that with your sight, and that is going to activate so much for you because it's at random times. You're just out for dinner and then you see it. You're just walking around and you see it. And it's not like in those moments where you're like, okay, I'm meditating and now I'm visualizing. You're just enjoying your life and you're out in the world and you get this reminder that everything's going to be okay. The other one I want to do it with is your feeling. So we did your sight, we did your smell, we did your taste. We're going to do your feeling. Now, this one I think is best with like muscular feelings, like either a part of a stretch or a part of a workout. If you're someone that goes to like cycling classes a lot, or you go to a specific workout class, or you run, a specific part of a workout that is like maybe a little triggering to you or difficult for you, let that be your activation. I think that's the challenging part. I mean, if you feel like that's too challenging, then you can always make it your favorite part for now, like your favorite part of class or your favorite part of a stretch. But if you can make it the hardest part, that is that switching the associative memory, which is just so cool. If you can switch out, like when you get to the end of the run and you have to like really push through to get to that last mile, or at the end of cycling when you like burn out, if you can make that a symbol of insert sign, insert whatever it is. If you can't think of something, I'm going to tell you, it's your sign that when you trust the process, good things happen for you. That is what I believe the sign is. For me, that's what I make it. But you can make it whatever you want. Every time you're in that place, you're associating it with this positive mindset. Beautiful transformation. Then the last one here is our hearing. I think songs or like melodies or certain beats are really great for this one. Every time you hear this certain song, and you can let it be like a popular song or like an older song that you'll often hear like in stores and stuff, let that song be a reminder of whatever. It could be something that is said maybe in the lyrics, or it can just be something that means something important to you. It could be of a person, it could literally be anything. But associating music or melodies or choruses with signs is so great. I once did this with the intro to one of my comfort shows. I guess I still do it because I still watch it. And that was so fun for me because every time it would play, like when you're binging a show and it's just on in the background while you're cleaning and out doing like whatever around your house, every time it plays, it's like, oh, tap in. It's like that intention reset. It's such a great feeling, and something that would have just been passive and a little bit like meaningless now holds this great, powerful meaning. But the other way you could do this with hearing too is a certain person, like a certain person's voice, for example. Like, I mean, you could make it me, you could make it this podcast, you can make it one of your favorite influencers whenever their voice comes up and you're scrolling, whenever a certain family member talks to you, or even a certain word or phrase. Like, you know how people say certain phrases like, hang in there, you can say like, every time I hear the phrase hang in there, and then like all of these things that are ordinarily just passing existence now become something so beautiful and so meaningful. And with this, you're not even in these deep practices. You're not in this deep meditative state. You're just existing. You're just having fun. And these things get to make themselves known all around you. And it becomes such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And now there's a little bit of a deeper level of shadow work that I want to leave you with here. What negative associative memory are you carrying with you right now? What negative associations do you have? And how can we switch them? How can we heal them? If you have certain clothes that you need to get rid of, or a certain song that gives you this negative feeling, anything, do some reflection, do some writing, make this a journal prompt for yourself, and write out what negative associations are living in my toxic filing cabinets. And can we take out those files and shred those toxic papers and replace them with something positive? Can we bind it in ourselves to heal that negative association and replace it with a positive? Change it, change the meaning, because you're in control of your perspective, right? That's the whole thing here. You could choose to see the world as a terrible place, or you could choose to have a positive rose-colored glasses perspective, because that's literally your choice. It's in your control, and you can do that today. So I challenge you to go write that journal prompt out, see what negative associations you have and replace them. I hope this was fun for you guys. I would love to hear from you what activations you're doing, what song you're using, what candle scent you're using, what gum flavor you're using, and how you're using it. I would love to hear from you. So please feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. I would love, love, love to talk about it with you. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. If you have a moment, I would love for you to leave a review on the podcast. Let me know what you're enjoying, what your favorite episodes are. It's so lovely to hear from you guys. And Every review that is left helps push the podcast out to more people like you so that we can impact as many people as possible and make the world a better place. So thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a lovely day.